Welcome to Cal State Fullerton's The Report with the latest news, views, and info to go. I'm Lena Agulian.
I'm Fenton.
I'm Hiba Bary.
And I'm Boydstun.
Today we will start by discussing some hot topics, including this week's Democratic debate, SeaWorld's new expansion, Jennifer Lawrence and the fight to close the wage gap in Hollywood, and Raven Symone's controversial name statements.
And finally, we conclude with local and national news about the rising water rates in Yorba Linda, a teenage boy beaten to death in church, and former NBA superstar Lamar Odom's fight for his life.
But first, we'll begin with our segment called Hot Topics.
On Tuesday, CNN hosted the first Democratic debate in Las Vegas. The candidates, including frontrunners Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, and their more obscure counterparts Lincoln Chafee, Jim Webb, and Martin O'Malley, addressed issues on foreign policy, education, and gun control. CNN projected the debate was a win for former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, while other internet sources called the debate a win for Senator Bernie Sanders. But one clear winner was the debate's moderator, Anderson Cooper, who is being praised for his hard-hitting questions and for his aggressive approach across the board. So, what are your thoughts on the debate? Who is your winner and why?
Well, I want to start by giving a shout out to Anderson Cooper just because his questions were amazing.
Well, he was spot on, yeah.
He was just on point with all the questions. He was strict about everything. Going to who I think won the debate, Hillary was very confident. She came in and she also had the most to lose. She's been in the spotlight for the longest, and so she had the most to lose, but she was very confident, didn't back down, quick to answer. On the other hand, Bernie Sanders, this was his first time really on stage, so everyone kind of got their chance to hear his points, and I think he did a good job. So,
well, I think so too, but of course he's going to resonate with the young crowd very well, because when anyone says free college tuition, that sounds great. But then when you break that down though, how is that even possible to do free college tuition across? Like I work with budgets, and I know it's so hard to allocate certain funds from one side to another. Even though mine is at a significantly smaller scale, you would think it'd be easier. It's impossible. So, and especially with the split House and Senate, like there's absolutely no way. So of course he's going to resonate well with the college crowd, because they just hear free college tuition. That sounds great. Yeah, I'd love that. But that's the only thing. When I hear people say that, it just kind of moves me in the wrong direction. I'm just like, you got to think about there's way more to it than that. So.
And CNN kept saying that Hillary won because Time Warner Cable is her 7th largest funder for her campaign. So of course CNN and all the main media outlets were saying she was a winner, but then social media obviously definitely calls out the BS and definitely says Bernie Sanders was the winner, which I agree with.
Yes, and I do think though that this debate was actually really great. Like with the moderator and with all the candidates, there was a certain kind of respect for all of the people on stage.
They weren't going at each other's throats.
Right. It was more like, okay, I agree with that, or maybe there were points where like my opponent and stuff like that, but it was still, they were still all getting to those hard-hitting questions like we had mentioned earlier with Anderson Cooper.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a good debate to watch.
It wasn't a reality show.
No, it wasn't. They addressed what they needed to address for this country right now.
Oscar-winning actress Jennifer Lawrence penned an essay for Lena Dunham's website in which she addressed the Hollywood gender pay gap. In the essay, she wrote how angry she was with herself for not negotiating aggressively for her fair cut of the pie on American Hustle. She writes, quote, "I didn't want to seem difficult or spoiled. At the time, that seemed like a fine idea until I saw the payroll on the internet and realized every man I was working with definitely didn't worry about being difficult or spoiled," end quote. While Lawrence has actors like Emma Watson and Bradley Cooper in her corner, she faces backlash from others like Sarah Seltzer from the website Flavor Wire. Seltzer argues that Lawrence's statements actually hurt the wage gap debate because she's already making millions. In 2015, Lawrence was named Forbes' highest paid actress, making $52 million before taxes. Do you think it's valid for millionaire actresses to address the wage gap in the same way an average woman would? Do women in Hollywood help the cause or hurt it?
Well, I personally think that work is work. Yes, she's making millions of dollars, but she is working. And the wage gap it's everywhere. And you're fighting in Hollywood, and they work as hard as the male actors do.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that she addresses all of these things, even though she is making millions, just because now we're hearing Hollywood voices speak about it too. So it resonates a lot more with us.
Well, especially, I mean, yeah, she's it's in regards to, it's relative to her at that point, you know, like her male counterparts are making more than her. So yeah, like in regards to that, and she's doing the same amount of work. So it makes sense why she could still talk about the wage gap, because it's relative depending on what class you're in and whatnot. But also, I think she's a great. It's great that she's addressing that, because she's like the spokeswoman for young teenage girls around the country right now. Like people look up to her. So she's a really good, empowering person for these young teenage girls, and I think that they shouldn't try to discourage her from speaking out, because she is seriously going to be. She's like the voice of the movement.
Yeah. Going off of that, I mean, celebrities. Who better than celebrities to speak out about something like this?
Yeah.
I mean, one person like Jennifer Lawrence can say something, and the whole country will know about it. So I think it's great that she did speak out about it. The pay gap. I mean, she was called spoiled, or she would be called spoiled if she said anything about it. But is it only women that are being called spoiled if they
I think so.
argue about it? So, I mean, that's another situation in itself.
It's like women would be called spoiled, but men would just be like hard-headed and like,
and determined, you know, persevering.
And I thought it's great how she's using her celebrity platform to reach millions of fans that she has, and then it really caters to just tackling these issues and realizing and educating people about this. And even if she is making millions, it's in her it's in her field of work. She's an actress, so of course she's going to make millions of dollars, but of course she still wants it to be equal as to the men. And Bradley Cooper even said that the next movies he's going to do, he's going to actually want the women to be present while he's negotiating money, so they definitely have an equal pay as well.
That's great.
That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah, because I know that they always do. They're like that duo now. They're like the dynamic duo in Hollywood. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, who doesn't love Jennifer Lawrence?
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. Raven Symone is back in the hot seat after her latest remarks over, quote, black-sounding names, end quote. As the Huffington Post reports, Symone made some questionable remarks during a segment on ABC's The View called "Are You Judged by Your Name?" During the segment, Symone said, quote, "I'm not going to hire you if your name is Watermelon Andrea. That's just not going to happen. I'm not going to hire you," end quote. As expected, Symone has received heavy backlash from all sides, and some have gone as far as accused her of having internalized racism. What do you guys think about Raven's comments? Is she right that people with names like Watermelon Andrea would be discriminated against? It's a serious thing. It's a really serious thing. Malcolm Gladwell, my favorite author, has even done studies on this about connecting up white and black names and race with career and just even actually like positive and negative views. Like, so they'll flash the word good and bad, and then you'll connect up the name with that. So these are like actual tests, and most of the time people do fail these tests on being usually put the African American names with the bad. Yeah, and even Malcolm Gladwell, the author, who is African American, even fell to that too. So it's a serious thing that's just been going on throughout the decades.
I mean, it's just so crazy to me, because your name does not measure the skills that you have, the experiences that you have. And I understand the way that it would be unprofessional, but that's your name. You don't choose it. You don't have any decision over it. And I think it's just crazy that this is a thing. And that,
it's just like, it's a social structure concept thing, where it's like if you don't have a regular sounding name, I don't even know how to put it, then it's like, oh, you must be different.
Americanized.
Right. Yeah, Americanized. We'll go with that. So I think that's where this whole segment is coming from. I think they just weren't, like, the public was not ready to hear Raven Symone talk about it. And so I think that's why she's getting so much backlash, because it can be a controversial statement. I can see why.
Well, I know that people have definitely changed their name to be more Americanized in order to, because they want people like in corporate America, they want them when they're flipping through the resumes, they want them to stop on theirs, and they don't want them to be judged by their name, because if their name is something that is typically like a black sounding name, then that they might flip over it because of these statistics.
Yeah. Well, going back in history, women writers used to hide under men's names so they can get published.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's been going on for years. And then this segment was called "Are You Judged by Your Name?" So it's not like she just said it to say it. They were talking about names. They were talking about names that they were being judged. I think what really caught people off guard was that she put watermelon in a name. So
Halloween is only 2 weeks away, and we have some fun events for you Titans. First, the Anaheim Halloween Parade will take place October 24th. Since 1924, the city of Anaheim has put on a Halloween parade, including a series of sponsored floats and parade segments. The parade will begin at 6 p.m. on Broadway, traveling east through downtown Anaheim, and will end at the Farmers Park Packing House District. Then, on Halloween night, the city of Cypress will host a Halloween Carnival night at the Cypress Community Center. The carnival will have game booths, family games, and a glow-in-the-dark fun zone. The event starts at 6 p.m. and costs $3. And finally, on October 29th, our very own Titan Task Force will host a Halloween-themed tailgate in support of our Cal State Fullerton's women's soccer team. The tailgate starts at 6 p.m. and will end just before the soccer game starts. Attendees are encouraged to wear costumes, and there will be plenty of food and giveaways. So go out and support your Titans as they take on the UC Santa Barbara Gauchos.
In the October 8th edition of Diverse Issues in Higher Education, Cal State Fullerton ranks 5th in the nation for the number of bachelor's degrees awarded to underrepresented students. The rankings are based on 2013 to 2014 preliminary data collected by the U.S. Department of Education per Cal State Fullerton's news site. CSUF also ranks first among public universities that award primarily bachelor's and master's degrees, number 1 in California for bachelor's degrees awarded to Hispanics, and 12th in the nation for bachelor's degrees awarded to Asian Americans. Now, how's that for some Titan pride?
If you live around Placentia and you want to get your children involved in the arts, then the Muckenthaler Teen Arts Center may be the place for you. Reporter Amanda Mrozek spoke with Marcia Judd, and teacher at the center, and CSUF Art and Child Development Professor. Take it away, Amanda.
Have you ever wondered how to get more involved with your community? Let's take a look inside the Muckenthaler Teen Arts Center to find out.
Let's see, I'm an artist who teaches, and this is one of the places that I teach about art. You know, a couple of years ago I had a dream to do something like this, and it was so exciting to see the dream come alive and to little bit by little bit see the neighborhood find us and the different families coming in, a lot of generations kind of visit at the same time to see them actually coming in here, learning, creating, doing something different than they've ever experienced before. That has been like my joy to see it go from a dream to reality, and watch it grow.
It is really fun because we get to learn new things. I've done stuff with clay. I've sewn it, painted with airbrush, and just painted. And right now we're doing candles.
We put the wax in first, then we let it go around. Then we put our color inside. Then with a spoon, we stir it. I have learned that it's a good way to learn instead of going to video games or doing stuff else. And you can create and clay what you want, like a Pokemon card or something else. And for sewing, you can create a pillow, quilt.
All the materials you see here are donated. All of the equipment has been donated. The fact that we're even here is proof that dreams do come true. When I see the kids come in here, I hear the laughter, I see the discovery. They don't necessarily think of things the way that we do. So create. If you create, it seems as though you can figure out how to do other things in life.
My name is Mike McGee. I'm the director of the Begovich Gallery here on campus at Cal State Fullerton. I've been here now for 22, going on 23 years. I think the favorite part was developing the layout and the plan and creating a plan that you come into the exhibition and it looks like normal exhibition with things on the wall, and then you go back into it and there are these different environments that you kind of get to explore and discover as you go further and further back into the exhibition. And I think, so for me, creating that kind of space. One of the drawings over here, Fred actually did as a student here at Cal State Fullerton because Fred went to school here at Cal State Fullerton as an undergraduate.
What would you like students to know about the Begovich Gallery that you don't think they might not know already?
Well, first of all, that it's here. We're on the far edge of the campus, so I think a lot of university galleries and museums are in the middle of the campus, and we're on the very edge. So I think that would be You know, the number one thing, if more students, you know, knew that we're here and knew that it's available, see things that they wouldn't see on a normal basis.
Did he have any interesting or weird quirks?
Fred would tell you he's a quirky guy. I mean, he has quirky interests and he has eclectic interests. I mean, for instance, he was and continues to be an avid fan of like 80s hardcore punk. That's just one example. There's a whole bunch of other things like that seem incongruous, but they really work, and it comes together to make this quirky but very genuine person.
Cal State Fullerton's News Center reports Fullerton's Team Potty Squad won the 24-hour animation contest for students hosted at Cal State Long Beach. Team Potty Squad is made up of Megan Lemassurier, Ari Castleton, Victoria Gold, and Tony Sun and Joey Amandella. 24 universities competed to complete a 30-second film in 24 hours. This year's theme for the film was Technology at the Dawn of Humankind. There were 9 animation teams representing CSUF, and another Fullerton team placed 9th in the contest. You can watch Team Potty Squad's winning film on YouTube by searching Potty Squad.
ABC7 reports members of the Yorba Linda Taxpayer Association hauled boxes of petitions into the Yorba Linda Water District early Wednesday in Placentia, protesting skyrocketing water bills. The group gathered more than 5,000 signatures from residents asking for a referendum petition to try to get recent water rate hikes rescinded or have the issue placed on the ballot for voters to decide. In an interview with OC Register, Jeff Decker, the association's co-founder, says the water district used the drought to raise reserves and increase administrative salaries without full public disclosure.
Megan Brianna Alt was jailed Thursday after admitting to creating and distributing child pornography of a 4-year-old relative for a Southern California Marine. The OC Register reports Alt sent images of her 4-year-old relative to a stationed Marine, and Naval Criminal Investigative Service investigators found those images. Officials say it is possible there are more victims since Alt was involved with helping children as a volunteer at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in San Clemente, per the OC Register. In 2014, Alt was named Mrs. Orange County and competed in the 2014 Mrs. California pageant. Officials say they do not suspect Alt's husband knew about the pornography, and he now has custody of their children.
Former NBA player Lamar Odom was found unresponsive in a Las Vegas brothel Tuesday night and has been fighting for his life ever since. But this morning, USA Today reports Odom is showing signs of improvement as his doctors believe he's having increased heart function. A toxicology report on blood drawn from Odom is still pending, but reports suggest he had ingested a cocktail of numerous drugs, including performance enhancement drugs. Members of the NBA community have shown a tremendous outpour of love and support for the former Lakers' 6th Man of the Year, including Odom's former teammate and Knicks head coach Derek Fisher, who said, quote, "Lamar Odom was one of the greatest people I've ever known. That's the way I see him. I view him through the heart and soul of the person he really is. I'm obviously hoping he can pull through this," end quote.
It's been 2 weeks since everyone has heard from El Faro, the missing cargo ship that is presumed to have sunk during Hurricane Joaquin. According to CNN, the ship disappeared somewhere near the Bahamas as it sailed toward Puerto Rico with 33 people on board. Now, family of one of those crew members is suing the company that owned El Faro and the boat's missing captain for $100 million. Attorney Willie E. Gary filed the lawsuit on behalf of Joanna Johnson, the executor of Lonnie Jordan's estate. Jordan is one of the missing crew members. CNN reports Gary alleged the 40-year-old El Faro wasn't seaworthy and that the ship owner, Tote Services and Tote Maritime Puerto Rico, was greedy. Authorities have found one body and debris, but called off the search last week. Gary told CNN, quote, "Money won't bring him back, I know that, but we're going to change things, and that's what big business understands, is when you hit them in their pockets," end quote.
And finally, in the world of sports, the Los Angeles Dodgers will not advance to the National League Championship Series as they lost to the New York Mets last night with a score of 2-3. Both teams were tied at the bottom of the 5th inning, but in the top of the 6th, Mets second baseman Daniel Murphy homered off Zach Greinke with a line drive to right field. Howard Kendrick was the final out of the game when he struck out swinging against Mets pitcher Jeurys Familia. In a post-game interview, Andre Ethier said, quote, "Speaks for itself. We got out-executed by the other team tonight. That's why they're moving on," end quote. The Mets will face the Chicago Cubs in the NLCS, which starts tomorrow.
Well, that's all we have on this edition of The Report. Join us next time for more up-to-date news, views, and info to go. Thank you. I'm Lena Agulian.
I'm Sarah Fenton.
I'm Hiba Bary.
And I'm Evan Boydstun. Stay fresh, Fullerton.